Hello there, this is Calvin with Click Snap Capture, and I want to do a little recording for you guys showing you what my digital workflow is for my photography. So what I'm going to provide to you is going to be a demonstration of what I do with the photos once I get them to the computer. So the very first step in my digital workflow is actually taking the pictures. Once I get done with the pictures, I insert the memory card into a reader, plug it into the computer, and then I get up and I create a folder. So typically my naming venture will be the date that I'm taking the pictures, and then I put some type of word reference such as family vacation, day one of vacation, or anything else on there as a descriptor. And then I create 3 different files or 4 different folders, not files but folders. And typically I'll put a JPEG, a RAW, and a TIFF. And then if I'm using cell phone as well, I'll put a cell phone folder as well. So we'll go ahead and create the cell phone one just like this. Now that I have my folders done, I copy the pictures on over to the card reader, from the card reader into the RAW photos that come from my digital camera. And with that, I then in my workflow open up the Digital Photo Professional by Canon, and I go to my RAW folder. As you can see here, these folders are empty. So I go into the RAW, I take a look at my pictures, and I'll decide from there what I want to do. So I can make any type of changes or adjustments or tweaks to the pictures. Canon with their digital RAW gives you these options with the little bars over here. And with this you can adjust different things with it. Color temperature, so if you're shooting in RAW, the color temperature can be changed or it can be fixed. It's never really set until you actually export it. You can turn around and adjust your lightness and your brightness with the photos and things like that. So you can do whatever you want with the photos to adjust it to make it look more how you want it to look. And we'll just go ahead and leave that alone now. And then the same thing with dealing with this photo here. We can drag the bars on down and bring out more color tonalities that we didn't have before. We can brighten photos up, we can darken photos by simply moving the bars around. Now one thing that Canon offers you when you're in here dibble-dabbling with this is the photos then get a little asterisk on it to show you that you've actually done something to the photo. So on this one here, right by my mouse, it has a little asterisk there. This photo that I have not done anything with, it doesn't have the asterisk, and so forth and so on. So another step that I do, I actually will mark the photos. So for example, we're going to go ahead and, where is it at? Label. So we can add the star values to it, or we can add a check mark. I'm going to go ahead in this case add the check mark. And the check mark shows up right up there. And then we'll do the same thing here with the label. We're going to add another check mark to it. And one last picture here. And we're not going to do the check mark 1 with this one. We're going to do a check mark 2. So I'm going to dibble dabble around with the different little settings real quick, just to show you what I do in my workflow. So instead of doing check mark 1, we're going to do check mark 2 this time. Now the reason I wanted to show you that is, as we can see, we have the different things here. So now that I'm done, so I went through, I selected all the pictures that I want to dibble dabble with. I can then turn around and click on File, and we have this batch option. So we can select different things. So we can select a collection or delete a collection. We're not dibble dabbling with that. Where's batch at? There we go, batch process. So right now we only have one file selected. So if I wanted to select multiple files, step back a little bit. Where is it at? Alright, so see it says check mark. We have check mark and ratings with the different stars. So we can do check mark 1, images only. So only these 2 images showed up. If I want to do check mark 3 images, you're dealing with 200, 300, 400 pictures, and you want to select only the ones. This is where that comes out. So now that I have those 2 selected, File, go back over to where it says batch. So now all the files that I select will show up in this list. Now you get to go ahead and you can use this folder, or you can use the same as destination folder. I want to go ahead and use this, but I don't want to do that. I want to actually put it to a different folder. So we're going to take it here, and we're going to go back down to this folder here. We're going to go over to, where did I do it at? Video. There we go. Video, photography, CSC tutorials, photography workflow, and we're going to put them in the TIFF. Click open. So now we're going to post them into that directory, into that folder, and we selected it, the TIFF ones. Now we can go in here and say save as type TIFF 8-bit. That's more common to do it as 8-bit versus 16-bit because most programs can't really handle 16-bit files. But you can also do this here where you can have the JPEG get outputted as well. I typically just do the TIFF file because these are the files that I want to actually do my editing, do my retouching on. Leave it at 350 resolution. I don't want to resize it. I want to embed an ICC profile. That's the one that was originally taken with the pictures. Shooting info, we can leave it in there. We can remove out the GPS or the shooting info or both, but I like to include everything in there. Leave the current file name and hit execute. Now the software is going to go through, it's going to export those two files out. So the bottom here is going to be the individual file, and then the top one's going to be the overall of all the files that you have. So if you got 30 there, it's going to be 1 of 30, then 2 of 30, and so forth. Or in this case, we only have 2. So now that one of them is basically complete, we're at 1 of 2, and it's going to go to 2 and 2, and then it's going to get done. Once this is done, I then, since I'm using the Mac, I go to that file and open it up in Photoshop. Alright, and if you want to view the error log, you can view it down there in case there's any errors that show up. In our case, we don't have any errors. So next up, go back to our folder here. We'll see our TIFF files is included in there. And there we go, our 2 files. You can now open it up with your photo editing application of choice. I'm currently using Photoshop CS6. As you can see, the image is opened up in here. Now you can utilize any tools that you want in order to manage this tool. You have all your normal photo editing tools that you can do here. You can highlight, you can move things around if that's what you want to do. You can crop, you can cut, if you wanted to resize. All these good things you're able to do right now with no problems at all. Super easy to do. There we go, got that cropped out. We hit the little check mark, we approved that we wanted to do that. Now we can do a file and a save as. I never do a save because I like to leave my original TIFF files untouched. So I always do a save as, do an edit. Now I have my edited file. Once that gets done, we don't want to do any compression with that. Go ahead and leave it as an interlace. And we hit OK. Now once I'm done with that, I can then turn around and do a save as. And now I can change it from a TIFF file to a JPEG. And one other thing that I typically do, and I didn't do it this time, and I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. I do it with the next file. So now we're done with that. We go ahead and hit File and Close. Go back to our folder. And see how we have all the files in there with editing and things like that? That's the no-no for me. I never do that at all. I have a format that I go through. And I didn't do it this time because I was kind of in a rush, didn't properly plan it out. But let's go ahead and we're gonna do this picture like this. All right, just that tree part is all that we want to do. We're gonna click OK. And then you do the file and the save as. And I change it from the current directory I'm in. And I actually put it into what's called an edit folder. So I don't have the edit folder now. So we click on new folder, edit. And that's what I actually do with the file. I do the renaming of the file by adding edit to it, but then I put it into its own individual folder. And that way all of my edited images go into a specific folder, all my unedited raw files go into a folder, and all my unedited TIFF files go into a folder. Super simple and easy workflow process for me. It's something that I do as a repetitive habit, so hopefully you can see how my workflow works, and then you can decide on a workflow for you through trial and error that's going to work for you. If you have any questions, feel free to shout them out to me. But until we talk, have yourself a great day. Thanks for watching my video. Talk with you soon. Bye-bye.